Hello IP students. Today our topic is Python programming. In this lecture we are going to discuss some important programs related to Python conditional statement and Python loop. So let's start. So this is a program to generate divisor of a number. This is a very simple program and its objective to find a divisor of a given number. So you can see here there is a program here, and first of all, if you want to find out the divisor of a given number, then first of all we have to enter that number into a computer system. So that's for that purpose we take a variable num basically stored the number which we input which we give input to a computer system. So for this purpose, first of all, this declared its data type. Declare its data type is int, and then after we use just input function, and then there is a message for it, and the message says that enter any number. That message will be appear on your screen when you execute this program. So first line I think is clear to all of you. There is the input function and the data type of num, the number which we find out a divisor, different divisor that is named as num. So num is a variable name here, and then we take a second variable here named mid, and we take a float division operator. We take a float division here, and perform the operation num float division by 2. And why it is so? Because when we want to find out a divisor of a given number, then there is a there is one thing that suppose if we take a number 6, then this is very clear that the number is divisible by 1, of course, and 6 it means that number also. And when we were out to find out other divisor of that number, then we start this divisor number from 1 onwards up to mid value, because after mid value it is not possible that we can find any divisor, because for example in case of 6, 1 and 6, 1 is a divisor, then 2 is a divisor, then 3 is a divisor, then 3 is also the mid value. And when we take more than mid value, that means 4 in this case, then it is not possible that 4 can be divided 6 at any cost. So we just take mid value. Okay, next up there is a print statement, the divisor of the number. So there is a print statement only here, so which shows a print statement to show that there are some different divisors in it. And now you can see here that there is a loop, and the loop is for a in range to mid plus 1. So that is very important. Loop starts from value 2 and then mid plus 1. Why it is start from 2? Because we already know that every number is divisible by 1. So we don't include 1 in this case, and we take its value mid plus 1 because we want to take a last value mid. So as we know that range function exclude the last value, so we take just here mid plus 1. So loop start from 2 up to mid plus 1. It means we have to check here from 2 to mid plus 1 here. And then there's a if statement within it. It means the part of the loop, and it says that if number modulo division by a is equal to 0, it means that if that number is completely divisible by a number for any loop value, and then there is a statement print a, that number will be printed here. And after that there is the end statement, and within end there we can easily see that there is a space. So when we find out a number, there is a space, and there is no line change in that case. So all number that completely divide a particular number will be printed here. And after that, when loop is over, there is a else statement waiting for us, which says that the print end. So there is a print statement which says that the now the program is over, and there is an end statement which indicate that the program is over here. So the basic concept is that when we want out a divisor of a given number, then we take a value mid, and value of mid we take a definition num floor division by 2. And why we take floor division here? Because when we take a division operator, simple division operator, then always then there is a value in terms of float value, and we don't want to take a float value here. We just want to take an int value here. So that's why there is a float division operator here. And in a loop, loop start from 2 to mid plus 1 because we know that every number is divisible by 1 and itself, and we take a number up to mid plus 1 to mid. That's why we take a mid plus 1, because in a loop there is a condition that when we use range function, then we take an extra value as far as last value is concerned. So I think the logic is very simple. Now you are able to understand that how we can apply this logic. Let us execute this program first and then see that what happens. Is it provides all values that we want, or there is something changed? Logic is correct. First of all, you must know what is the logic behind it. The logic behind is that a number, if we want to find out the divisor of a given number, then we just divide this number starting from 2 to up to the mid value of that number, and we find out the different divisor of that given number. You can easily see here. And this is the program to generate a divisor of a given number here. And always remember regarding to a range function that it excludes the last value, so we just take one extra value. If we want to suppose if we want to uh, execute a loop 4 times, then we take a value 5 as the last value, not 4, because 4 is excluded in that case. And here one thing is very important, that we take a else statement with for loop. It means for else statement is used in this case. Okay, so when for else statement is used, then whenever there is a condition found to be false, then else statement will definitely be executed in that case. So the concept is mid is equal to num float division by 2. Always remember that. And there is a float division operator, not a division operator, because division operator gives the value in terms of float. So these are the two important points regarding to that as far as logic is concerned, and you can easily see that. And we want to print a different divisor in a single line, that's why we use here AND. Here we use AND keyword here. So basically AND with whatever we give a value within a single or double quote, so we just give a space, so all value are separated with this simply a space here. And at last, when the condition found to be false, then there is a print statement waiting for us, says AND, so it means end of the program. So that is the logic behind this. Now let us take now let us see the output of this program. Just go to Python interactive mode here, go to new file, write a program here, save the program, and then try to execute this program. F5 with the shortcut key for running this program. First of all, if we don't save this program, then save this program using .py extension. Give any program name here, just give a program name 24 or 23, whatever you want, and just see here, enter an integer. So different integers are here, you can see here 2 4 7 6 14 29 and end. So 56 is a number, and as we know that it is divisible by 28, so all the divisor of 56 are here, starting from 2 and up to mid values. Now let us take another program. This program is basically says that it is used to find out the sum of series. Series is in the forms of 1 plus x square plus x cube plus x4 plus up to power xn. Very simple series, and power is continuously increasing. You can see easily here, x is any term and power is continuously increasing from 0 and onwards, because if any number or variable have power 0, it means value is equal to 1. So first value is 1, and then second value x power 1. If we don't represent the raise of power, by default it is 1. So x power 1, then x power 2, then x power 3, then x power 4, and up to so on, up to go. This program goes up to x power n here. You can easily see that. Now this program, to make this program, we have to take two variables, x and n for power and x for value. So you can take here x may be an integer value. So you can take integer value here. I just I take float value, you can take integer value. Then x is equal to int input enter value of x, and then n, and int input enter value of n. So n is a integer value and x is a float value here, and we want to find out the sum of series. So for that purpose we take a variable name s. So we initially initialize it with 0. And why initialize it with 0? Because we don't want any garbage value contained within it. If it contain any garbage value, then when we initialize it with 0, so that garbage value will be removed. So we just initialize it with 0. So s is equal to 0 here. So here three values are there for two values for two variables. Three variables are there, two variables for input and one variable used for output. So x and n are the variables used for input, and s is the variable used for output. Now the programs begins here. The most important part of the programs begins here when we use for loop, because here we just want to print a series, and here the number is not given, that up to which number we want to find out the series. So we take a variable n here. So for variable n, as you know that in range function n is not included. It means the last value is not included at all. So we take a value more than that of the last value. So in function we just take n plus 1, and we just take one value. And actually range function contains three different parameters: the start value, end value, and increment and decrement. But if start value is not given, if increment or decrement not given, then their default value will be considered. And start value is by default 0, and increment is by default 1. So increment is by default 1. So loop start from 0 and goes up to n plus 1. N plus 1 is not included, so it goes up to n value. It means up to n. And then within the loop body of the loop, we can easily see that there is a statement x plus is equal to x exponential. There is a sign of exponential here, exponent, and a, it means x power a is here. So s is equal to s plus x power a. You can easily see that. So it is written as s plus is equal to x power a. This is a sign of exponent here, double star. So first sum is calculated, and then second sum is calculated, then third sum is calculated, and this sum is calculated up to n terms. For example, if we take a value of x is equal to 2 and the value of n is equal to 2, then loop start from 0, and then first sum is s is equal to 0 plus 2 multiplied by 0. Then it will, then next time it will take for another value of a and the previous sum which is added in second iteration, and this process is going on until we find out a sum up to which n is given here, up to which the loop is um, up to which there is a until the condition is satisfied. So, and at last when we find out a sum, then there is a statement that print sum of first n terms is equal to s. So s will be printed. Always remember that when we print a statement outside the loop, then the last value that is a part of the loop will be printed, and here the last sum will be printed, whatever is the last sum here. So this is a very simple program. Let us check the output of this program again. What happens if we want to execute this program? The two important part of this, we take two variables x and n. So just open Python first, and then There is a program already here, so we just overwrite it and save the program, and then execute this program. We can see that that the output is enter any value of x. So just take the value of x is equal to 2 and value of n is equal to 3. You can see that there is the answer for this. You can easily calculate by putting these value into the series. For simplicity, you can take x is equal to 2 or n is equal to 1 here, so you can easily find out the answer. For 2 and 3, answer will be 15. So just calculate, put the value of x equal to 2 and n is equal to 3. It means 1 plus 2 plus 2 square plus 2q. So 2q is equal to 2 power 3 is equal to 8, 2 square is equal to 4, 8 plus 4 is equal to 12, 12 plus 2 is equal to 14 plus 1 it means 15, and 15 will be the answer, and that is the answer. You can easily see that. Now let us take another program. This is the program to calculate LCM, means least common factor, and GCD, greatest common factor of two numbers. So first of all, we have to calculate LCM, means least common factor, and greatest common factor for two numbers. So two numbers will be printed, otherwise there will be an error. So there are two inputs, there must be two inputs, and the input is are of integer type. So we take a two variable for that, x and y, and just give an input statement here. You can easily see that x and y is equal to int input enter first number, y int input enter second number here. And the formula to find out LCM and SCF, if we already have an SCF of two numbers, then we can find out the LCM using the formula x multiplied by y divided by SCF. So if we multiply two numbers and divide it by their SCF, then we can easily find out their LCM. So first of all, SCF should be found out. So if we are able to find out the SCF, we can easily find out the LCM. You can easily see that is the formula of an LCM, and SCF is highest common factor of two numbers. So two numbers are there. You can easily see that. First of all, just take two variables x and y and input them. So for input we just take input statement x and y, int input enter first number, y int input enter second number, and then check the condition which number is smaller. So for that, when we compare x is greater than y, then smaller is y, else smaller is x. And it also include the condition when both numbers are same. So else will be or else part of this program will also consider that condition also. So now we have as variable smaller, in which we store the variable value of the variable which is smaller than as compared to other. So we have two variable and another variable, two numbers, and a variable smaller which stored the smallest value of that number, smallest value within these two numbers. And now the program's important part of the program begins here from for loop. So here you can see that for I in range 1 plus smaller plus 1, to find out the highest common factor you should know which is the smallest value between two numbers. So there is a loop start from 1 and goes up to the smaller number. Okay, and then we check it with every number starting from 0 and check whether it is divisible by this number or not, whether both the number are divisible by that number or not. If it is found that both numbers are divisible by that number, then that is the value of their SCF. So first of all, let us suppose there are two numbers 4 and 6. So if we find out the SCF of that number, so we have to check whether the both number 4 and 6 are divisible by 1, 2, 3 and 4, means up to the smaller number. So there is a sprint there is a if statement in the for loop. You can easily see here, if x modulo I is equal to 0, I is the value of for loop. So the first value of for loop is 0 by default. So first of all it will no, sorry, 1 by 1 is there, because loop star range within range function value is given as 1 smaller plus 1. So there is no need to check with 0. uh, so we check the remainder from 1, and we know that every number is divisible by 1. So this condition becomes true, and you can easily see that both the conditions are separated by AND. So here we just check whether the both number x and y are uh, divisible by certain numbers or not. And if both numbers are found to be divisible by a certain number, then that is the SCF for that particular moment. And when we check another number, then that is another number that is found that is greater than the previous one, and the condition is found to be true, then the SCF is updated according to that condition. So this is very simple. It is just like that. If we want to find out the SCF of 4 and 6, then first of all we check it with the value of 1, and check whether the 4 and 6 are divisible by 1 or not. Of course they are divisible, so the SCF is 1. And then we can check it for value 2, and check whether the both of the number are divisible by 2 or not. Of course both of the number are divisible by 2. So now SCF is 2. So SCF is updated according to the loop, and we here basically continue this process until we get the lowest number or smallest number, which is 4 in that case. In 4 and 6, the smallest number is 4. So up to 4 we have to check all numbers, and then obviously we can easily find out a number. And if any other number is not found, then one is the SCF. So here you can see that x modulo I is equal to 0 and y modulo I is equal to 0. This condition checked again for all numbers equal to smaller, and then we can easily find the SCF, that is highest common factor, and this value is stored in SCF. And after that, then when loop is over, we have a value, means we have highest common factor of two values. And then to calculate LCM is very simple. Just multiply these two numbers x and y, which you find out the SCF, highest common factor. So x multiplied by y and divided by highest common factor, SCF. So x multiplied by y divided by SCF, highest common factor. So LCM is there. Now we have both values, LCM and SCF. So this is very simple to find out the LCM. First of all, you have to find out the SCF of two numbers. If you are able to find out the SCF of two numbers, so you have SCF already, then you can easily know what is the LCM of that numbers. Just multiply these two numbers and divide it by SCF. And here one thing should be noticed, that here we use the floor division operator. So now you have SCF and LCM. So just print these values, and there is a print statement after the for loop. The SCF of x and y is SCF, and the LCM of x and y is LCM. And one thing is very important. You can easily see that whenever you want to print a string, then always write within double quotation marks, and after that if there is a variable, just put a comma sign, and that write the name of the variable. In this case x is the name of the variable. And if you want to put another variable in or another string, put another comma sign, and after that put another string or variable name. If there is a string, then write it again within double quotation marks, and if it is a variable name, just write it as simple as it is. So you can see that the SCF of, right within double quotation marks, then after that comma sign, and then x is the name of the variable, then after comma, then after and is a string, right within a double quotation marks, and then after comma, then y, and then comma, and then is also right in within double quotes, and then SCF. So similarly LCM will be printed. So this is a program to calculate LCM and SCF. So logic is behind this is very simple. First of all, if there are two number and we have to find out the SCF and LCF of these two numbers, so first of all find out the smaller number between these two. When you have find out a smaller number, then loop will be going on from 1 to smaller plus 1, and we have to check each and every number between these range, and check whether both the number x and y are divisible with that number or not, and we have to find out the largest number between these range. So when we find out the largest number, that is the SCF, and and when we find out the SCF of of two numbers, then LCM, we can calculate LCM very easily. Just multiply both these numbers and divide it by SCF. And here's the flow division operator works here because it gives a value in terms of integer. So that's why there is a flow division operator. And when you have LCM and SCM, then just print that statements. So that is the program related to how to find LCM and SCF of two given numbers. You can easily see here. That line with marked with a blue color are main logic behind that program. Means we have to check that both numbers are divisible by a number or not. Both numbers are. There is a condition that both numbers are divisible by a particular number. So we separate them by AND. Here you can easily see that. Separate them by AND. Okay, so x modulo I is equal to 0 and y modulo I is also equal to 0. And the formula of LCM is to first of all multiply both numbers and divide it by HCF, highest common factor. So this is the concept to apply highest common factor and LCM, least common multiplier. Now let us execute this program. To execute this program, just go to interactive script mode, write this program, execute the program, run module. F5 is the shortcut key for that. Before this, just save the program, and you can see that enter first number. Suppose enter first number is 2 and second number is 4. So the SCF of 2 and 4 is 2, and LCM of 2 and 4 is 4. So you can easily see that. You can also calculate it using formula. So that is the highest common factor of 2 and 4 is 2, and the LCM of 2 and 4 is 4. Now I think it is clear to all of you that how to calculate LCM and SCF. If you are already known that what is LCM and SCF, then this program is very simple to you. Just apply this logic, and according to that logic, the answer will be printed here. So the SCF of 2 and 4 is 2, and LCM of 2 and 4 is 4. Now let us check another value for another output. So you can check it for different values, and it will always give you a correct result because the logic behind this is correct. So it is all about the logic. Whatever you apply with a program, within a program, if the logic is correct, answer will always be then answer will always be correct. If logic is incorrect, then answer will also be incorrect. So there are two types of error in a program. Basically, there are syntax error and the logical error. Syntax error related to the grammatical rules for a particular language, and the logical error is about the logic behind that program. So if you apply wrong logic, you get wrong answer, and if you apply correct logic, you always get a correct answer. So programming is all about to how to apply logic. And if you know the syntax of a programming language, then you can easily create a logic according to that syntax. So logic is same for all programming language, but syntax is different for different programming language. Thanks for watching this video.